I'm here with John Bush, who is a Gen Z member, political activist, and community organizer who's on the ground now. It's 1 a.m. on Monday, August 24th, a little after 1 a.m. John, give me a just overall picture of what you're seeing.
Hi, Troy. First of all, this evening has been a tragedy for the community here in Kenosha, and we're seeing hundreds of people joining together in their plight to ensure safety for all Americans, regardless of race. We're now seeing a bunch of protesters going towards the police.
And John, where are you located in Kenosha or downtown?
We're downtown, right just south of the courthouse. We're now seeing all the protesters going right towards the officers. I can expect anytime now for something to happen.
Right. So you've been on the scene for just a little bit here. You said when you first approached, you saw some individuals breaking into a store.
Yes, I did. I saw on the corner of Sheridan and you have to forgive me, I don't know the street, but it was the Gulf gas station. I had witnessed a couple of individuals, young men, break the glass of the door to the gas station, as well as people hitting cars in the local area.
Right. And have you been hearing chants, from the people?
Most certainly. We've been hearing the chants, Black Lives Matter, which is such a poignant message during this time. We're also seeing the use of physical body language, the holding of the right fist up in the air, showing a unity among the people here. It's quite visceral. I am not seeing any retaliation from the police at the moment. I am seeing, however, that these individuals are very impassioned by the movement and the justice they seek and the answers they want for the family.
For sure, of Jacob Blake. We can hear some of that crowd noise behind you. You said that you saw the police moving towards the protesters. Have there been any warnings given by police to evacuate the area? The area is currently under a curfew right now.
Excellent question, Troy. So at the moment, the police have warned the protesters that they will take action soon and that they've warned them to go home. However, we are seeing that these protesters are ardent about their plight, and they will ensue that plight whether or not the police officers want them to leave or not.
Right. And talk about the generational mix, that you're seeing. Are they mostly older people, young people? What's the mix of the people on the ground?
So the demographics here, Troy, are pretty dynamic. I'm seeing a very diverse group of millennials and younger, of all races and creeds, who truly feel this sense of urgency to make their thoughts known. And in some ways, it's a very beautiful sight to see Americans come together in their shared vision for what this country should be and what it should not.
Great. So where are you at this exact moment? And I should have asked when I started, how long have you been on the scene before we got in touch here?
Okay, now they're shooting. Now they're shooting. They are shooting.
They are shooting the police?
Well, they're shooting something. What we're seeing is mostly some sort of pellet or air. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, glass is broken. People are shooting now. They're shooting what appears to be, I can't tell you for sure, but they are ensuing with the protesters. The protesters have now moved back.
Okay, so they have shot some sort of gas or rubber bullet?
I think it's more of a rubber bullet at the moment. I have to apologize. I'm not quite sure, as I am also moving away.
Right, and of course, your safety is the most important thing here, and of course, the safety of all people involved. But we don't want you, of course, getting hurt here. So you just said that in a tense confrontation just a few moments ago.
Yeah.
Some rubber pallets were shot. Protesters are now moving back. Where are your coordinates right now? Where are you at
I'm in the middle of the park, and I'm probably actually one of the closest people to the police officers. I am seeing that they're trying to be peaceful about the whole matter. And I'm also seeing an impassioned group of people who are very vocal about their opinion.
And what park?
That is a good question. I don't know what the park's actual name is. The sign right now is being, oh, wait, I can tell you. The park name, Troy, is the Civil Center District. It's the Civil Center. Put the brick down. They're saying they're now telling an individual to put the brick down. Earlier in the night, there was a brick thrown at a police officer, and I think that they are now warning again for the protesters to put the bricks down.
What just happened?
So we just saw protesters shoot fireworks towards the police officers. They're now telling them to put down a weapon to a protester. I don't know if that's in reference to a brick or if there's something more than a brick.
Talk about just overall your initial thoughts as a young Gen Zer when you first heard the news about Jacob Blake.
I've known that Kenosha has had a fair share of issues when it comes to race relations. It's deeply troubling to me to see that our community hasn't put this issue on the forefront years ago. So it's deeply saddening. I'm very distraught.
Right. Before we started recording for this program today, you said that you were worried about going to sleep, that you didn't know if that would be possible for you.
Something just happened. I don't know if somebody just got shot with a pellet, but I do see somebody on the ground.
Okay, someone is on the ground. You believe that they were just shot with a pellet?
Yeah, it looks like they're fine. It looks like they're backing up, but they're obviously in some pain.
Wow.
So,
can you get details about, was this a female, a male individual?
I don't know for sure. I could ask around here, but it certainly appears to me that they are not afraid to shoot at the moment.
Right, so they are using rubber pallets. We can hear it in
Correct.
the background, John.
Correct.
It's just almost like rapid fire from what we're hearing in the background.
It is, Troy. Yes, and it's I am very happy to see that the police is standing in solidarity here and not engaging in behavior that is unbecoming of our police department. I think they understand the plight in some capacity of the individuals that have decided to protest tonight. And I certainly hope that's reflected in the decisions that are to be made in the upcoming days or weeks in regards to how they move forward with this case and what they do within their own department.
You are listening to Generation Now. This is being recorded on Monday, August 24th, on the eve of the shooting of Jacob Blake, who was shot by Kenosha police on Sunday, August 23rd. Right now I'm with my correspondent, John Bush, who is on the ground covering this for us and in real time. And so you are hearing this as it is actually happening in a way that is just, it's heart-wrenching to hear on the other end. So thank you, John, first of all, for being with us and spending some time. So again, let's start from this point. Where are you at the moment?
So we're currently in the Civil District Center, which is located between what is Harborside and Ruther High School and the courts here in town and one of the local museums, the Dinosaur Museum, as well as the post office, which is to the east of me. We're seeing probably a little over 300 people who are protesting this evening for the shooting and the death of a local Kenosha resident, which I'm just so distraught by as a local youth, as somebody who's grew up in this community. And I felt the need tonight to be here. We have now just set fire to part of the garden in the park.
Okay, so now part of the garden is on fire. John, you are also coughing here. Have you been sprayed with any sort of gas?
I may have, quite frankly. It doesn't matter. I feel fine. So it's
still
possible.
The coughing. Wow. So the garden is on fire, and the garden is in the Civic Center Park. It's now, you're saying, in flames. Yeah,
it's not that big, but it is burning. I also can visibly see in the northeast portion of the Civic Center a garbage truck, which is on fire as well. You know, I just have to say, as somebody who's been very involved in Kenosha community, I am deeply disappointed, and I am deeply concerned about how such a tragic and, quite frankly, wrong, unlawful, perhaps, shooting and death could take place in my own home city. And I would like to say to all the youth, now is not the time to sit down, but to stand up and to make your voice known. Get involved. Run for office. Simply vote. But now is not the time to watch and sit back. Furthermore, I'm seeing such a diverse crowd, which is such a beautiful thing that Kenosha has this diverse community, and now is time for our community leaders to acknowledge that this diversity exists and to act accordingly to it.
Right, and to be clear, at the time that we are recording this, there are mixed reports. Some people are saying that Mr. Blake, Jacob Blake, 29-year-old resident of Kenosha, has died. Other reports are saying that he is in critical condition in the ICU. So just want to put that out that we're working on many different reports on his status here at the time of this recording.
Please forgive me, I'm coughing.
Yeah, no problem, John. Thank you so much for being out there for us in the action. We can hear the sirens. We can hear the noise, the chaos in the background, and so we thank you for being out there for us as we continue here.
Absolutely, Troy. Absolutely. So I'm deeply troubled by the fact that I am hearing that it is possible that the victim of this heinous crime may have passed away. That is troubling to me as a young person. That is troubling to me as an American. And it is troubling to me as a member of this community that we would allow such heinous crime to be allowed. We are now shooting again at the protesters. I don't know what caused this time. I don't know if they got too close. But it is a visceral image. I'm watching men and women holding their hands up in the air. And it's
so let me break in there, John. So what you were seeing is the protesters putting their hands up and the police still engaging and shooting in the rubber pallets?
Well, to be quite frank, I can't answer that with absolute certainty, but I do see some people with their hands up. I can't say that with absolute certainty.
They tired of me.
Right, but they have their hands up.
They do.
So we're seeing that the protesters are not being confrontational per se with police. Would you go that far, or that they might have gotten too close? You're not sure.
They're now shooting at somebody who has a camera up, which is deeply concerning to me.
Oh no! Oh goodness! So John has just reported here on this program that they're shooting at someone with a camera. Is this a industrial camera, a phone camera?
Yeah, it appears to be a phone camera. This is a quite pivotal point now. I'm seeing the press. I see press I see another person in the press. I might just step in here with the press for a second. So what we're seeing, Troy, is we're seeing a whole lineup of officers who seem to be willing to hear the cries of the voiceless people that are here tonight to mourn the death of a brother. And it's quite a moving sight. In the background, I see a flame burning of a dump truck. I see tears. This is a time that calls for action. You have to forgive me.
That's what the protests and that's what the protesters are saying. That that's what they are, what they're calling for.
Yeah, action. Action for Black lives. Action for justice. Action.
Action.
Not complacency.
Not complacency. Right. I want to reset the table here, folks who are listening to Generation Now. My name is Troy McDonald. I am the host of this program.
There you go.
This program was recorded on August. This program was recorded on August 24th, the morning after the shooting of Jacob Blake. And I'm here with John Bush, who is our correspondent out on the field, in real time. John, what are you seeing now?
Well, it was hard to examine where some of these shots were coming from. They're coming from an elevated position within some sort of police armed vehicle, perhaps the sheriff, which gives, I believe, the police a better sight of maybe some of the antagonists in the situation. But it does make sense now and why there was such a very long distance for some of these shots to be made. With the, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem there. So what you're saying now, what you're reporting is that there was an elevation difference here, that they could have been looking down at some of these protesters, which explains some of the distance of these shots.
Yeah, and I'm seeing one individual who's holding up some sort of plastic shield, because I think he too recognizes who's shooting. Yes, it's from an elevated sheriff vehicle. I can't tell you the specifics of the vehicle, as he has some very bright lights on.
So, John, I actually want to add another flavor into this program. Obviously, we are in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thousands of people over 175,000 people have lost their lives. What are you seeing out there in regards to that? Are people wearing their masks? Are they socially distancing? Not that they would claim that that's the most important thing on their minds, but we also have to keep that in mind for our audience, that we're still in the very real midst of a pandemic.
Great question, Troy. So predominantly what I'm seeing right now is a kind of a mixed response when it comes to wearing masks. I will say a lot of individuals are wearing gas masks for obvious reasons and fear of being tear gassed. Other individuals are not wearing masks. I will say there is some distancing, and in other situations across the protest area, there are not safe social distancing practices.
So there are not? Did I hear that correctly?
There are not.
Got it. And you mentioned earlier that some of the members of this group are millennials, they're Gen Z. So these are some of the people that the CDC has warned are potentially passing this virus along. So obviously we want everyone to be concerned about their health too, even though some would argue again that that's not the most important thing here. John, obviously, you mentioned earlier that this is a mixed coalition, right? That there are interracial people here and diverse group of people, right? There's just a diverse group of people. Could you add a little bit more to that?
Certainly. So from where I'm standing, I see a diverse crowd of millennials and younger women, men, different social statuses based. It's quite the scene. I have seen a couple of baby boomers as well. I can assume they're. I should say I shouldn't assume they're baby boomers, but they are older than a millennial. There is a sense of unity. There is a sense of frustration, of pain, perhaps even agony that this type of conduct is still happening. Even though just a few months ago, in the case of George Floyd, we had thought that we had conveyed the message strong enough. Well, it has become apparent to the individuals here tonight that the message was not received.
Wow, that is truly something. I want to talk about what you're seeing on behalf of the police. We've talked a lot about the protesters, a little bit about the police. Obviously, they are under fire here from a public that is demanding answers after what many protesters have deemed an unlawful shooting here, that there are many other alternatives. Have you seen police using some sort of restraint here tonight and how they are managing this crowd?
We are seeing them from the east side of this park to the west. They have lined up completely to protect what is the courthouse here in Kenosha. Furthermore, we see that they're being protected by shields as well as helmets and gas masks. We are seeing some of the police officers have some sort of weapon, whether that be for it. I don't quite know yet. I haven't been shot by one yet. We're also seeing some elevated police officers in what appears to be a sheriff vehicle. And it appears that their main objective at the moment is to take out what could be seen as a threat from a distance.
So they're from an elevated position, like from a larger vehicle, or on top of a building?
Yeah, in a larger vehicle. And I think most people are unable to see due to the fact that this vehicle has some extremely bright lights at the front of it, that this person is sitting on top with a weapon of some sort.
Oh, kind of pointing out of the vehicle.
Correct.
In an elevated position. And the lights are blinding people.
Correct.
Wow.
I am hearing glass break.
Okay, so glass is continuing to break here.
Glass is continuing to break. Yeah, this is quite the scene. Now the protesters are again lined up face to face with these police officers. The police officers are showing restraint in this time of grief. And here we go.
Oh, my goodness.
Hold on 1 second, Troy. I'm going to have to step back here. Good job, guys. Good job. We are seeing more glass being broken, more fireworks being thrown at the police officers, and the police officers are responding. They just broke a glass window of the school across the street. The tension here is quite high.
And the school, do you know what school that they...
Let me go confirm, but I am hearing glass breaking. It appears that is Harborside School. Yes, I do now see broken glass.
At Harborside School, broken glass.
Yeah, so we're seeing broken glass. You can hear it maybe from the background.
Yes.
The people are quite upset. This will be a challenge now, too. I want to take the time and opportunity to say this is an opportune time for Kenosha Unified School District to start having the difficult discussion of how to truly dismantle racism within our public schools. It is obvious that these individuals, it is evident right now that there are individuals who are very upset.
Right, with the public education system. What are you experiencing, John? Are you okay on the ground?
I am fine, thank you, Troy, for asking. I am seeing mixed response now from the protesters asking them to stop throwing and breaking windows. There are probably at least 20 windows that have now been broken in the school building.
At Harborside.
At Harborside.
Got it. So, and you see what you just reported is that you are seeing the protesters tell other protesters stop breaking the glass.
what I am seeing currently is that the protesters are telling other protesters that this type of action is not going to resolve the plight for social justice and racial justice. I am now again watching more windows be broken. You can probably hear it in the background, Troy. We continue to see glass be broken. I would say what is Harborside and Luther High School here in Kenosha, the northeast corner of the school and they're now breaking the doors of the school. I see. And they just now broke into Mangy's, which is across the street from the school.
Wow, okay, so they just broke into a restaurant that is nearby.
Yes. Now, this is where things could be different. As they're now breaking into private-owned land.
Right. This is a private. Mangia's is a restaurant that closed down, as our audience knows, some years ago, but the building is still there, and that's located right next to a hotel, I believe.
It is just on the west side of the hotel, the Stella Hotel here in Kenosha, yeah.
Yeah, so this is, if there are any guests who are staying in the Stella this evening, this could be a wake-up call for them. Right, a scary moment. John, let's reset the table. You're listening to Generation Now. My name is Troy McDonald. We are recording this the night of the unrest that has taken place after the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, the 29-year-old resident who many had deemed was shot unlawfully, and so a group of mostly young people have gathered onto the streets protesting what they believe is an unjust shooting. I'm joined also by my correspondent this morning, I should say, John Bush, who is adding just so much to the broadcast today. John, what are you saying?
We have more breaking news. So they have now broken into what is the U.S. Taekwondo Academy and have shattered completely the window, which is located on the east side of Sheridan Road.
Wow, and this is a long-standing business here in Kenosha that has been in existence for dozens of years. And what's also particular there is that there are nunchucks and other weapons.
Troy, as I'm getting a little bit closer, it is actually that restaurant Mangy's, which has been vacant for a while here. Most windows of this restaurant have now been destroyed. I can see the glass on the ground. I can see the pain in the people. I also can see why some of the protesters here are trying to calm these protesters down and make sure that they don't participate in unlawful activity.
So you see kind of the double-edged sword here of them wanting to express their anguish, but some trying to channel that in a new way.
Would you like to talk to the radio? Would you like to talk to the radio? Yeah. Hold on. Let's pull over. Come here. Come on over.
And John. Yeah. So John, get the name and the state of this person. And
what's your name?
Why you get my name?
No, it's on the radio.
Come on.
It's the radio.
You talk to who it is.
Troy, would you like to explain who you are?
Yes, my name is Troy McDonald. I'm with WGTD 91.1 ERD, Wisconsin Public Radio affiliate in the area.
Okay. All right. Seems like he doesn't want to talk.
Okay. Understood.
Okay. It appears now that the protesters are moving south. I don't know what their intention is. So we're seeing a mix. Would you like me to? I think I might be able to get some of the first shots here of. We are now seeing the police coming in from the east side here, blocking off the road as they see the crimes that have been potentially taking place here on this private property.
Right, and Mangia's has been out of business forever. And just to clarify, John, we are here. This is Generation Now. I'm Troy McDonald, joined with John Bush, who is our correspondent this morning, as we are on the ground. Alrighty, folks, we're back here again on Generation Now. I'm Troy McDonald, joined with my correspondent, John Bush, who is on the scene as we are going through the unrest in downtown Kenosha after the shooting of Jacob Blake, a 29-year-old resident black man who was shot by a white police officer on Sunday, August 23rd. John has been just great giving us the detail and painting that picture for you. You are hearing this, of course, on a later date, but we're providing that real picture for you that you can only get here. Alrighty, so John, you have crossed the street. What are you saying?
So I am currently on a car sales lot. We are just south of where we previously were, just south of Ruther Central High School, which is on 58th Street and Sheridan Road. So on the east side of Sheridan Road in Kenosha, we have what is the Bradford Community Church, which is the Unitarian Universalist Church here in town. And we also, just south of that,
who are you with?
at WGTD, the radio.
Cool.
Would you like to talk?
No, I'm just curious on why you're just giving out tons of information when you're supposed to be here, a part of it, and not.
Okay, we are here again with John. John, what are you saying?
Hi, Troy. So it appears that the crowd for the protest has continued to move south on Sheridan towards what is the Bradford Unitarian Universalist Church, where the protesters have gathered into a group. We are also seeing on both sides of Sheridan protesters. So this would be within the 58th, 57th block here on Sheridan Road.
Great. And so we're seeing almost the splitting of the group, or two different groups on both sides of the road?
Yes, more predominantly on the east side of the road.
Great. John Bush, correspondent here, who is bringing us just extremely detailed information, taking you there to what's happening on the ground. John, we are incredibly grateful to have you here with us on this edition of Generation Now. So the protests have moved south. You saw reports earlier of people breaking into vehicles at a car lot?
What it appeared to be that I haven't gotten close enough to take a definite look to assess what has been done. I am seeing that a car has been opened. I don't know what the intentions are at this moment. Just 2 blocks further down the road south is the Gulf gas station that I earlier mentioned, where the door had been broken in with a rock.
With a rock, the front entrance, and that was when you first approached the scene for us, correct?
Correct.
Wow, that is something else. Have you noticed, John, any dialogue between the protesters and police? Have they been demanding certain issues, or has it just been a lot of noise and screaming? Have you been able to take into account any dialogue between the protesters?
I will say, I'm going to change the subject here for a moment. We are now seeing the protesters have put objects in the way for vehicles to not be able to come through, both north and south. It appears now that some vehicles are able to come north on Sheridan Road. However, the south part of Sheridan Road here on between 58th and now 59th Street, there's a trailer.
And the trailer is where? In the middle of the street?
Correct.
Did I miss?
Which would cause traffic not to be able to go through.
Wow, and that trailer was from the Kenosha Police Department, or did the protesters or the group there?
It is apparent that it is the protesters who have moved this trailer, which appears to have come off of the lot of St. James Catholic Church and the former school. And perhaps this is a trailer from the demolishment of the school.
Right. Oh, my goodness. So now that they are literally putting obstacles in the road to prevent service vehicles, police vehicles from coming through on Sheridan Road.
Yes, and I can now totally confirm that vehicles have been damaged on the lot. We are seeing.
What are the condition of the vehicle?
We are seeing some of the protesters take matters into their own hands and throwing metal objects at the windshields as well as the passenger doors. I think these protesters are ardent in their belief of the Black Lives Matter. We are seeing such passion. However, at the same time, the activities that they are doing here on the lot, it is a private lot and it is not a public property.
Right. So this is a business owner, a small-time business owner who's going to have to figure out a way to pick up the pieces here, literally, as the cars that he or she would attempt to sell have been vandalized and destroyed on that lot. Do we have a name of that lot, the name of the car lot?
So the name of this lot is, I don't see an official name. What I'm seeing is pre-owned car service vehicles. You may be able to even hear this. You might be able to hear the bashing in of windows.
Yes, we are hearing the bashing in of the windows. Folks, this is just stunning audio we are getting from our correspondent, John Bush, who's on the ground on Sheridan Road. This is audio from August.
There we go. They just broke into the car. We are now seeing a car completely demolish the windshield and the side windows of the right side of the car.
Do you have was this an SUV? Was this a sedan? What kind of vehicle are you seeing being totally destroyed here?
This car is a Toyota RAV4, four-wheel drive limited.
So this is a four-wheel drive limited used vehicle.
Why are you talking to the radio?
Hold on one second, Troy. I'm talking to one of the protesters here.
Don't call me a protester. Why are you talking to the radio? What is it for?
So we can share your story.
Why don't you go share the story down there, not this store? Go share the story down there with the cops.
Wow,
Okay,
thanks. I'm sorry that I'm concerning you. I understand your plight. So
John.
I was talking to one of the protesters who we're now seeing multiple cars being demolished here on the site. It's quite the sight to see. These protesters are vividly upset. I would say there's at least 7 to 8 cars on this car lot that have been demolished, the windows.
And John, I just want to say publicly here on the air, if you are in harm's way, you need to consider moving. Of course, we want you to be completely safe here. You are clearly just confronted there by
I do not feel in harm. I feel that the anger, the tension in this crowd is directed towards the systemic institutionalized racism that has occurred for decades.
Right, and this is just...
Their anger is not towards me. Unfortunately, we see some of these protesters hearing me as somebody who may be telling their story as a potential risk because of this systemic racism. They fear for their lives.
Right. We are here with John Bush, who is giving us live, raw audio from the site of the protest. It is a little after 2 in the morning on Monday, August 24th. You're listening to Generation Now. John is on the scene of a car lot on Sheridan Road that has had vehicles damaged. John, give us the latest.
I had heard another glass break. I'm trying to now examine where this window perhaps has been smashed into. I have suspicions that it is... No, I'm talking to the radio, but thank you for your concern. It appears that Monges again has been attacked, has been thrown into. So again, there's been a lot of damage done here on Sheridan Road.
A lot of damage there on Sheridan Road, indeed. I want you to talk about kind of what you just described about the kind of the mood and the feelings of the protesters. From what you're getting from them, this is built up frustration from over the last several decades of systemic racism.
See, as a white individual, and perhaps I would even say privileged individual, I cannot fully understand or speak to what this community has experienced in brutality, in injustice, in institutionalized racism within our country. I will say that it is clear that these protesters tonight feel a sense of home, a sense of community. This is a shared plight for all the people that are here.
Yeah, no, that is just absolutely jarring. And have you been able to glean from your conversations with these individuals kind of their thoughts on, because there are going to be some people who are listening to this very program who say, well, there's other ways that could have gone about this. Have you received any pushback to that from the folks on the ground there about why they've chosen this method instead of others?
Absolutely. It appears to me that there is a bit of discord amongst the protesters here this evening. Some of the protesters have made their point of view known that they do not believe demolishing cars or windows of private property is the answer that they all earnestly seek. Those protesters have made their voice known. And then there are certainly other protesters who are adamant and appear that, at least to me, they appear it doesn't matter, that this was a long time coming. There's now smoke appearing from a car. The car lot just south of Brewster High School here. I do not know if they have set that car on fire, but there is a great deal of smoke that has started to appear.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, and that is incredibly dangerous because...
Correct, the gas.
The gas and the other vehicles nearby, this could be a very serious moment here. In a moment, if this car that is smoking catches fire, we hope that is not the case here. But
I will try to get a little bit closer, but I'm not going to get too close for the safety concerns.
Right, so, absolutely. We do not want you or really anyone else to. I
totally can confirm now that they have set this car. At least the interior appears to be now on fire. I can see flames within this car on the car lot.
Unbelievable. So now, after dozens of windows were smashed, after protesters came and confronted you while we were on the air, now a vehicle is on fire. This is something. And John, let's take a step back here. We've seen these protests happen all across the country, hearing horns blaring. Talk about what being there is like in the midst of all this. We've seen this across the country. Did you ever think it would happen here?
Sadly, in some ways, yes. Yes. Unfortunately, I can see within our community some dissent on the issue of race. Furthermore, that issue becomes apparent in our school system, in the behaviors of our leaders here in Kenosha. Take a look at our very own city council. This town is diverse in its demographics, yet in the leadership of this town, it is not.
That's like the last one.
I'm excited, though, in some ways, and I'm hopeful. I'm deeply hopeful that friends of mine, that people I grew up with, will help change this reality of Kenosha. That car is fully ablaze right now.
Oh, my goodness. And what's the proximity of that vehicle to other vehicles?
That car has a flame coming out of it that's probably 10 to 15 feet tall.
All right, and how close is that vehicle to other vehicles on that lot?
Very close, within 2 feet.
Oh, my goodness.
So this could be a very dangerous situation, so I'm going to head a little bit north, and I've been telling people that we should back up because this could get dangerous very quickly. Okay, it is now seeming to me that there are sounds coming from the car. There's a sizzling sound, which is deeply concerning to me.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so, folks, as John has just reported to us, there is a car on fire.
Ooh, there we go. Lot. There we go. Something just imploded. Perhaps the car has imploded.
Okay, the car has imploded, folks. You're listening to audio from Monday, August 24th. This is a live on-the-ground report on Monday, August 24th, 2:30, little after 2:30 in the morning on Monday, August 24th.
We have now 2 cars on fire. This could become this could be a very dangerous situation we are seeing here on the 58th, between the 58th Street and the 57th Street of Kenosha, here on Shannon Road. We are hearing now, I see a second flame in a different location. I am now believing there may have been, we are now hearing more of the car exploding. Please go this way, folks. Go this way. Go this way. Folks, go this way. Go this way. Do not go through there. Go this way. Come. I am sorry, Troy. I'm having to direct traffic. I do not want to see anyone else get hurt here in this incident. We are now seeing I think we're seeing 4 or 5 cars now on fire. This is creating a great deal of smoke. I am very concerned. Luckily, the protesters have now moved back. We are now hearing another car implode.
Oh, my goodness. Okay,
We are now seeing ash. Ash is now spreading. It is creating quite the scare here. I would not be surprised if the people in the cellar are very concerned right now. You're now hearing live sounds of a car on fire here at a local car lot just south of where the protest began this evening. Troy, I'm going to have to move here. The sheriff has now come to the area of the fire. It has now turned into 6 or 7 cars from what I can examine. I do not think they're going to be able to control this very easily. It is quite apparent that this has taken a turn, which could be very dangerous. I am very concerned that there's a fire that is getting very close to the Bradford Church, the Unitarian Universalist Church here, just east of the car lot. It is one of the oldest churches in Kenosha, and the flame sits within less than 30 feet away from the church. They're now throwing things at the protesters.
The police are throwing things at the protesters.
I'm sorry, I think I just got tear gas.
Oh, my goodness, John. John.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you thank you. Okay, hold on. I'm watching. It is such a visceral moment for me here, looking at the sign, looking at the plight of these people, their strife, and the enduring pain that they have encountered over decades. I am now going to have to move back a little bit. We're seeing that the police are now coming. We are now seeing a full flames fire engulfing at least 7 to 8 cars. It is quite the sight, Troy. I'm just trying to get as close as I can without getting dangerous here. Unfortunately, there is some light that is causing this to be... Oh, we're seeing another car get... Ooh, there goes the gas on one of them.
Oh, my goodness. Folks, in my more than 10-year career at this station producing content since I was 14 years old, I've never been a part of anything like this. This is truly
Troy,
remarkable.
If you're with me still, I think you can maybe hear the sounds of these cars and the fuel compartments of the cars imploding.
Yes.
I can confirm that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars are on fire at the moment.
6 cars are on fire, and these cars are close to each other, 3 to 5 feet away from each other, right?
Not even. And I'm watching the sign melt that said Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's quite the sight.
Folks, this is Generation Now. I'm Troy McDonald, joined by our on-the-field correspondent, John Bush, who is a Gen Zer. I am a millennial, and this, as I said, is Generation Now, a show by and for millennials and Gen Z. This is audio from Monday, early Monday, August 24th. We are airing this.
We're now hearing another implosion, some sort of explosion here. I am deeply concerned as it is encroaching closer and closer to the church. Lighting. Oh, I am sorry. You may have heard another implosion.
Yes,
there goes the sign. That was the sign. The sign has imploded.
The sign, has it collapsed? Has it fallen down?
The sign has imploded. I am here on the south side of Manja's restaurant, viewing south of me a car lot on fire here in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It is quite the sight. I am deeply troubled and deeply saddened that this night has resulted in this. I would say that a good portion of the lot is going to be under fire here. Even the cop cars are removing themselves from the area. It is also deeply concerning because I see another vehicle on fire south of this. 10, at least 10. Okay, now I see a car. I'm going to be walking a little bit south here. You'll have to forgive me. I am very close to the police officers. I don't want to start anything with the police officers, but I do want to be able to record this accurately. I am now seeing that all sides of this lot have been set on fire.
Okay,
this is
John.
certainly we can certainly say this certainly now. I would say there's more than 10 cars that have been lit on fire, as well as a dumpster on the southbound lane of Sheridan Road between the avenues of. It is apparent now the sheriff department as well as the city police are trying to blockade the road so that the fire department can get in and try to mitigate the flames.
Right. So, folks, this is Generation Now. I'm Troy McDonald, joined by my on-the-field correspondent, John Bush. This is audio from Monday, August 24th, 2020, after the shooting of Jacob Blake that many deem was unlawful and that was against protocol by the Kenosha police. John is on the ground. He's at a car dealership on Sheridan Road where at least 10 vehicles have been lit on fire here, and apparently someone lit a fire in one vehicle and it just spread, and we could hear on the tape the gas compartments exploding from vehicle to vehicle at this point. John, you have updated
You're
the
now
reporting.
hearing the cars are imploding. Stay back, though.
And John, you have also updated your reporting to say that police are now trying to blockade the road so that fire crews can come in.
Absolutely, Troy. We're seeing now the entire lot is heading towards being imploded. I am deeply concerned about the church that is directly east of this lot.
And that is the Bradford Unitarian Universalist Church, a long-standing institution downtown, an iconic building down in downtown Kenosha, right near that lot.
This is quite the scene here. We have, it's something to say the least.
Wow. Okay, folks, we are here now on Generation Now. I am Troy McDonald. This is audio Monday, August 24th, in the midst of massive civil unrest after the after the shooting of Jacob Blake.
I'm going to have to back up now, Troy. It's apparent I'm going to get shot at. So,
are they? Oh my goodness. Okay, so our correspondent John Bush is now retreating. He is coughing, as you can hear, as they are shooting tear gas, rubber bullets.
I have to now.
Wow, folks, you are hearing this, and I'm going to. No, I want to keep this in the show, John, because it is so important for people to hear the real effects of what is going on as you are so bravely reporting this on the ground for us and for our show Generation Now, WGTD 91.1. We are so grateful that you're here. So, John, you have moved
now
where
broken
you're at
another
now.
window of another building here, Troy. This is the county, some sort of county building we are listening to. They have now radio.
What radio?
WGTD. They are seeing us, and they are, I think, not afraid to shoot. I have a light on me, so I'm going to back up.
Right. Of course, your safety is the most important thing here. So we are, as you can hear, people are confronting John as they are unsure of what we're doing, but we are broadcasting.
I am hearing again, they have completely broke the windows here at the County Credit Union by Black Hawk Community Credit Union, which is here on the 59th Street and 10th Avenue corner on the east side of 10th Avenue.
Okay, so they have broken in now. So they've gone from the car dealership to the community credit union, Black Hawk Community Credit. That's a relatively new establishment, at least in this part of the state. So, John, you're saying they've entered into that facility?
They have certainly broken the windows of the facility. The lights are on. I do not know if they have entered the facility. I will check now as I get a little bit closer.
Well, of course, and as we want to alert our audience, we want to make sure that John, as you're listening to this, that he is safe, that he is okay.
You can now hear the sounds of windows being broken on this bank. I am concerned that illegal activity could perhaps be ensuing, but I am seeing what's going on. We have now confirmed that people have gone into the bank.
Okay, so people have now entered the bank.
Yes.
Again, John, I would stay away from those people as they might, we don't want to cause any confrontation there.
I want to update you on the car lot situation. From what I am seeing, I would say 1/3 of the car lot is on fire now.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. 1/3 of the car lot is now on fire on Sheridan Road, which is near that church.
The UU Church of Bradford, I believe.
Yes, the Bradford Unitarian Universalist Church,
also,
right next door.
Across the street from St. James Catholic Church and what used to be the St. James School.
Correct. And so this is a vulnerable area. I want to take us a step back here. Do you know if the police and fire were able to get through? We had mentioned earlier in our reporting, in your reporting, that they were putting blockades in the road so they couldn't get through. Have you seen officials and fire trucks be able to get through to help mitigate these flames?
Not at the moment. Perhaps they are at the moment trying to get into the area of where the flames have engulfed this car lot. However, the police department and the sheriff's department have used their vehicles to blockade any further traffic and perhaps allow a route for a fire truck to get through.
Right.
So I have relocated now, Troy, just so you know, I am now currently on what I believe is 58th Street on the kitty corner to the car lot.
Okay, kitty corner to the car lot.
It has engulfed a great portion of the car lot at this point. This is going to be catastrophic for this business owner. We hope to see soon perhaps a fire truck as well as immediate response for these flames. However, the damage is done.
This is just unbelievable, folks. This is audio from Monday, August 24th, and we're airing this so that you can get a sense of the emergency, the panic, the fear that is palpable out there as our correspondent, John Bush, is out on the ground for us. So it's just amazing to me, John.
It is apparent now that Mangie's is on fire as well.
Oh,
the
my
famous
goodness.
restaurant is now on fire. I see flames engulfing the restaurant.
Okay, folks, so the car lot was on fire. Now, Mangia is a long-standing historic restaurant, as John Bush has reported, is on fire.
It is quite the scene here on Sheridan Road between the Civic District Center to the Gulf gas station. In between is 4 blocks of complete destruction, explosions, and flames.
This is unprecedented in the history of Kenosha. There has never been, John, anything like this in all of my years of broadcasting. Just talk about the scene. Let's back up a little bit. How many people are you seeing on the ground there executing this as they go seemingly with reckless abandon from business to business without a cause? I cannot get a grip of how many people are currently here. They have spread out. Right. I think there should be an evacuation order in store for anyone in the Stella, and of course this is airing after the fact. Let's hope that anyone in the Stella gets the help they need and fire alarms are escorted. It just seems, John, I don't know if you get this sense or not as you're on the ground on this Monday, August 24th, that there's just no control here, that as soon as one thing happens, it just goes from building to building, and the police and fire are just unable to get a handle on this.
It is apparent that the protesters at the moment do seem to have remained in control of the situation, as now a good portion of this block is on fire. We continue to hear...
What are you seeing on the ground, John?
A lot of smoke and a lot of fire. And again, I'm deeply, deeply concerned about the flames that have started to engulf what was Manja's.
Wow, which is just...
It's a landmark restaurant for the city of Kenosha.
Formerly a restaurant that
yes,
closed down.
It was a landmark restaurant for the city of Kenosha, and this is breaking my heart.
Wow, and of course the hearts of many who are listening to us as this historic building that has meant so much to so many has gone down. But also want to be clear that the life and health and well-being of Jacob Blake also meant a lot to the protesters on the ground as well. Obviously, do not want to conflate property and life on my end, but we can, of course, mourn the sadness of a landmark business in Kenosha. And, of course, near the Stella. John, what are you seeing at the Stella? Have the flames transferred over? Do you see people evacuating the Stella?
I don't know. I think I'm going to go into the desk and ask what they're doing. I would be very curious to know their response at the moment, and if they're aware that the building directly west of them has caught on fire. You may hear in the background some sounds of more cars exploding. It is drawing closer to the car sales lot office. I am now looking carefully at the Stella Hotel to see if they have evacuated, and if not, it gives me the question of why not.
Correct, and of course we will take that as we are moving. Let's reset the table. I'm Troy McDonald. Okay. This is Generation Now, a special edition. We're going to be posting this early on Monday so that you can so we can post this audio in most of its entirety here. We will have to remove a small portion of this for those of you listening because there were some curse words that were espoused, not by our people, but by others, so we will have to make some edits for FCC reasons. But other than that, you're going to get the raw audio later today on Monday morning, and then a special edition on this Saturday.
Troy, I'm now entering the Stella. It is apparent. Hold on one second. I'm hopefully going to reach somebody here at the desk, and if not, I have every intention of calling the police department to inform the owner that the building directly west of them is on fire.
This is just a historic moment, folks. For those of you listening to us, you are
no one answered here, which is deeply concerning to me that nobody had answered the phone.
Do you see people outside near the hotel?
No, I see people inside looking out, looking very concerned and overwhelmed at the engulfed, the cars that are engulfed by flames. And furthermore, some of them on the west side of the building perhaps can see that there is smoke coming out of Manja's, what used to be Manja's restaurant.
And so that is even more concerning because the last thing we want is people inside of a building looking out instead of getting out themselves. But this is a precarious
the fire department is here now. I see one fire engine. However, I do not think that is going to be able to do much given the circumstances. They are strategically taking out the east side of the fire, which is close to engulfing a tree, which is on just directly west of the church.
Unbelievable. Folks, I'm very rarely speechless, but this is a historic moment. This is an historic moment in the city of Kenosha.
Perhaps
we're bringing it to you in detail.
Perhaps, Troy, you can hear the sound of water hitting the open flames. I am watching people as they take the time to photograph this historic moment for Kenosha. It certainly is the climax of the evening, and it certainly is. I can now confirm that the majority of the cars on this lot are on fire.
Oh my goodness! And okay, so let me take a step back here and set this table. The fire engine, are they putting out the fire at Mangia's or at the lot? Are there multiple fire trucks, or you just said there was one?
Have you informed the Stella Hotel? Have you informed the Stella Hotel? Can you please do that? There are residents in there. Can I go in there and tell them? I am... Okay, it appears that the police do not want to inform the Stella Hotel that there is a building directly west of them that is on flames. They're trying to take out the flames at Manja's. However, I do think that there is certainly good reason to evacuate the hotel at the moment.
Wow, and what's interesting here is that police are not going to make that call here to get them to evacuate the hotel. That's an interesting call, I would surmise here on the air, that they would not encourage people. It's always, but see, I can also see why, right? If they go outside and protesters or some others rally around, it could be a major issue there as well. So it's almost, if you go outside, you're putting yourself at another type of risk here. Folks, I'm with John.
Troy, I'm also seeing smoke now in downtown Kenosha.
Okay, so the smoke. So people have now gone into downtown and started.
I'm going downtown to check to see if this is the case. I do not know yet at the moment. I'm going to go further in to investigate. Okay, it is now apparent that some of the police officers are going towards the Stella Hotel, and I had already informed them that I had tried to. Oh, it is not what they're doing. They're not going toward the Stella Hotel. They're going towards something else. And I am going to follow in suit here. I am seeing cops all around. They are on foot chasing perhaps a thing. I now hear sirens. Are there people in the hotel? Okay. Okay. Good. Apparently there's not many people in the hotel. Don't shoot. They have pulled out a gun. It appears.
Oh, no.
It appears that an officer has pulled out a gun.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So
I may have to catch this. I may have to absolutely catch this if this is the case. I'm now seeing police coming into downtown. I see there is certainly a lot of action happening here in Kenosha. I'm going to go down into downtown a little bit more to see what this action is. I have seen 2 cop cars now heading towards the lake. I have actually seen them head in all sorts of directions. I see cop cars turning. Okay, I see a car speeding, and I see a police car following in suit of this, what may be a criminal. 2 cop cars now speeding at an advanced speed. Quite a few buildings have been vandalized with graffiti, using expletive language. in reference to essentially in rebellion towards the police.
Folks, you are hearing the voice of John Bush. He is our out in the field correspondent during these moments of unrest, more than moments, this extreme period of unrest, unlike the city of Kenosha has ever seen. I'm Troy McDonald. This is a Generation Now audio special. This audio was recorded Monday, August 24th, between the hours of 1:30 and, or now a little past 3 in the morning. And John, I was saying to you during our last break here, just when you think things will quiet down, something else pops up.
Please don't shoot, ma'am. I have a camera, and I am not afraid to use it, ma'am. Please do not use the gun, ma'am. Put the gun down, ma'am. Here we go. Excuse me, Troy. All right. Are you filming this, people? Thank you. Ma'am, be careful with what you do. Go peacefully, please. Go peacefully. I am currently watching people be arrested. I am within 20 feet of the incident. Calm down. What? Calm down. The police are acting in a very calm manner. I believe they recognize that this could be a situation that could get out of control at any moment. There is a lot of agony here at the scene. We are currently across the street from Herzing on what is 58th Street, just east of the car lot fire. I am watching very carefully to see how the police responds and to make sure it's done in an appropriate manner.
So is this a woman who has a gun who is being arrested? Am I hearing that correctly?
No. The police officer was holding a gun towards a African-American male.
Oh, my goodness. Almost a repeat of what happened earlier today.
What? You the police or something? Radio. It appears that there are a few people that have been arrested here. We have one that is definitely in cuffs. We're on the 58th and 7th Avenue corner. It is currently 3:03 in the morning. There are 4 cops on scene, and we have sheriffs coming more. It has become quite the scene. I hope this is a moment where many people are watching to make sure they handle this in an appropriate way.
This is unbelievable. So you have moved, John, all across downtown for us. We are now at the scene of an individual. You're listening to us here, WGTD 91.1, as a woman or an individual, or excuse me, an African-American man has a gun pointed at him by Kenosha police.
Black Lives Matter, we want to grow up.
Hold on. We are now seeing that the sheriff department has arrived on scene with guns blazing. They are trying to I think they're trying to move people away. Be very careful. Be very careful. I am now telling they are trying to remove people away from the crime scene, trying to push them towards 7th Avenue, which is east of the crime scene, as they are talking with the suspected person at this moment.
Who is an African-American male. John, can you give us an age of that person if you can see? I know it's dark out there. It's 3 in the morning.
It is apparent that this person has already been put in the car. I can only ask the people that were around for more intimate details in regards to who this crime was directed towards. I'm going to go a little bit in closer to ask. So it appears that the suspect was apprehended. Furthermore, I don't know what the exact details of this were. It is apparent that there was an overload of sheriffs and police on the scene of the crime. I'm heading now a little bit west on 58 to see how the fire, if it is being controlled.
Wow, folks, this is something else. This is audio from the early morning hours of Monday, August 24th, the day, several hours after the shooting of Jacob Blake.
So I can now... Sorry.
Yes, no, go ahead, John.
I can now confirm that the building of the car lot has been set on fire due to the car that was earlier set on fire here on the corner of Sheridan and 58th Street.
So the fire started in one vehicle and then expanded to other vehicles, and then has now, as you just reported, John, to us, has now engulfed the building, the actual office space of this dealership.
It is apparent that that is what has happened here. I am very concerned as it is encroaching. It has now set the tree on fire and is drawing closer and closer to the historic church.
The Bradford Unitarian Universalist Church. So now it has set a tree on fire. Where, John, you're in the vicinity, you're right on the ground there. Do you see any fire trucks or anything at this particular location?
There's quite a bit of smoke. I can hear the sound of sizzling, which to me could reference a fire truck trying to extinguish the flames. I am hearing further implosions or gunshots. I don't know which it is.
Geez, and what a time to be alive, as Drake would say, right? When you can't tell the difference between a gas tank explosion or gunfire. That is the state, folks, of Downtown Kenosha. Monday, August 24th, we're a little after 3 in the morning. We're posting this audio later Monday morning, so you get
the entire
full report.
The entire lot is now engulfed in flames. It is apparent, yes, there are no fire trucks in vicinity. They have given up completely in trying to control this fire. I do not see a single fire truck.
This is just unimaginable. This is something we have never seen.
And now, Manja's is completely engulfed. Troy, the entire roof is now on fire at Manja's, what was formerly Manja's restaurant. We are seeing the greenery that used to be beautiful on the outside of the building go up in flames.
Oh, my goodness. This is a moment, folks. Manja's restaurant, a historic restaurant here in Kenosha now, as John just reported, completely engulfed. John, what's the status of the Stella? I have people evacuated from the Stella.
I talked to 2 of the guests at the Stella Hotel, and I had asked them if there was anyone else in the hotel, and from what they could recollect, there is not. However, I had informed 2 police officers who were obviously on the chase of a suspect to please inform the Stella to evacuate. I got a response, well, fella, if you want to do it, go ahead. You can hear the sound of the flame engulfing the building.
This is just, folks, I am speechless here and folks, let me add an additional point here as we wait for our correspondent, John, to do this, take that photo for us. All of these photos can be found on our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGTDFM. That's where they will be posted when this audio. So, folks, let's also put out there that the Downtown Kenosha was the subject of a multi-year, multi-million-dollar redevelopment plan that was started to be put in place over the last several years. There have been many studies funded to revitalize downtown, and not only will they have to revitalize, downtown will have to rebuild after what has taken place tonight. And again, some of the protesters and those who are agonizing say that it's about time for that, and that's what they feel. But obviously, you've got to feel for the business owners who are losing their livelihoods tonight as the city is engulfed in pain, agony, and misery. We are back here with John Bush, who is our on-the-ground correspondent. John, give us what your initial feelings are as you see a downtown in ruins.
It is a tale of the times. Unfortunately, this is the cry of a voiceless people, and I certainly hope that those in the city that have the power to make the change listen very carefully. There is a lot of pain and suffering and agony in these flames. There is a lot of history, and let me tell you, the history that I share with the former Manja restaurant is very different from what some of these protesters could say they experienced at the Manja restaurant. It is definitely a tale of 2 cities, and I can firmly say that tonight.
John, your expertise has just been fully on display here tonight. Excellent work. John, where are you located right now?
I am looking at what was the former Manja's restaurant engulfed in flames with no firefighters trying to control the fire. Okay, we're now seeing fire trucks. We're now seeing one fire truck. I'm seeing one fire truck approaching. The entire...
All righty, so we will give that a moment.
The fire truck is going downtown, into downtown. There seems to be some sort of activity that is taking place in the downtown area. I'm going to go investigate a little bit further to see what has occurred. I now see sheriffs and police and fire department in the downtown, close to, please forgive me for a second as I am walking east on 58th, just passing the Stella Hotel and Ballroom to investigate a little bit further some of the damage that may have been done.
Right, and you can hear folks in the background, glass breaking and shattering, and this is a very live situation here, and we thank our correspondent, John Bush.
We do have a fire. We have a fire. Now, this is rather interesting.
John, what are you seeing?
I can't quite examine it yet, but it looks like it possibly is just east of the Barden building, which was undergoing renovation.
Right, so this is the Barden building, that there could be a fire that you're seeing there?
I am seeing the fire department and police have...
Folks, I'm here back with John Bush. You have some startling details from downtown, the kind of inner part of downtown Kenosha.
Hi, Troy. So I am currently at the avenue of 58th Street and 7th Avenue here in Kenosha. And as I walk east towards the lake, I can look to either side of the street and see damage done to the windows of some of the private businesses that fill the downtown Kenosha streets. The Barden building, which was undergoing a massive renovation, has destruction to its windows. We also can see Silk and Satin has attempted destruction to the windows. Furthermore, what used to be the Virginia Theater windows have been completely shattered.
Wow, this is just absolutely startling. Are you seeing any flames in this area? Or
I am now seeing that on. Hold on one second, Troy, so I can assess the situation here in Kenosha. We are seeing multiple fire trucks. Yes, it is apparent that something different in Kenosha has been on fire and is maybe currently on fire.
Oh my
Something
goodness.
different on... Yeah, so what we see here is something different, which was located on the main street of downtown Kenosha. It appears to have been at some point during the night on fire, and it now also appears to me that there are firefighters in the building trying to extinguish the flames and hopefully salvage some of the business.
This is unbelievable. Something different, a kind of local knick-knack type of shop with different unique items, a long-time staple in downtown Kenosha. As John Bush just reported to us, at some point during the night on fire, and now we have crews in there trying to extinguish flames, as you so pointed out there, John. Just startling. Are there any people, protesters, in the area, or has it been contained, or are people still milling about downtown?
It is apparent now that many of the protesters have left the area. However, I will say that it appears that some of the protesters have moved around to different parts of the city and have unfortunately perhaps done some destruction to our local businesses here in downtown.
Unbelievable. John, just talk about, John, just talk about the kind of the extent of the damage. I mean, what you think as you take this in, your kind of reactions as you're approaching scene after scene like this. This is something that we have never experienced. Now you're in downtown. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's apparent damage all throughout downtown Kenosha. Most businesses and these private business owners are tonight in a very poor mood and very sad for the state of their businesses. I would also like to express that some of these business owners do support Black Lives Matter. However, they do not support the destruction of property.
Right. And these people, they poured their lives and their hard-earned money into these businesses, hoping to revitalize a community that they love. And in one night, as a result of the Jacob Blake shooting, their lives have gone down the drain and their livelihoods have gone down the drain. Of course, as we noted earlier in our program, this is in the midst of a pandemic, so most of these businesses were already hurting as their sales and foot traffic had decreased and online sales had decreased. And so this is just a double whammy, quadruple whammy for a lot of these downtown business owners who are facing headwinds before tonight's events, but after tonight it will definitely be almost insurmountable for some.
Yeah, Troy, and I am currently near Salon Technique, and it appears that a lot of people, and apparently the business owners, are in a state of shock, perhaps devastated by what has happened tonight.
Right, and can you blame them? I mean, no one expects this to happen in their community. No one expects this to happen in their community, and or wants this to happen, and especially in their business. And it's 3 a.m, a little after 3 a.m. This is the time when business owners are, potentially going over the previous night's receipts, or hopefully potentially getting a little bit of some sleep to get up and start the next day. But in this case, today, there is no tomorrow for these business owners. Their tomorrow will be picking up glass shards, seeing if there's any fire damage, seeing what property loss has occurred in the city and in their businesses, and really putting one foot in front of the other to figure out what is next.
I'm kind of taking a walk right now through downtown Kenosha to see and assess if there's any further damage to any of the local businesses. It is clear to me that some of the protesters have dissipated, and we are maybe looking at it dwindling down. I'm currently walking through downtown Kenosha to assess the damage done to this local downtown community. And at the moment, it appears that a lot of graffiti has been done to some of the local business windows and some of the brick. We're also seeing some of the windows have been completely destroyed. What could be assumed to be rocks or bricks have been thrown into them.
Wow, and this is, could you give your exact coordinates of where you're at downtown, seeing what you're seeing?
58th Street, predominantly 58th Street, from Sheridan Road down to 5th.
Okay, from Sheridan Road down to 5th. Wow, that is just startling. John, we approached a business owner who is not willing to speak with us this evening. Are you seeing a lot of business owners out looking at their properties, trying to pick up the pieces, or was that a unique case with the business owners that you approached just a few moments ago?
I have certainly been seeing more and more business owners approaching downtown to assess the damage this evening. And, of course, most of them, unfortunately, some of them have been very devastated. I'm now looking at the side of the Stella Hotel, which has been graffitied, spray painted with an explicative, a derogatory statement against the police department.
Wow. And the Stella, as our audience knows, a multi-million-dollar development that was recently completed and had their grand opening last year, and will have to redo some of their work there. The good news there about the Stella is that even though a nearby former restaurant, Mangia's, was on fire, it appears that there were very few people staying there this evening, so they were able to get out, and that's thanks to your reporting, John. John, just a sense of what's happening on the ground, the amount of people. Have things started to disperse for the evening, do you think?
It certainly appears that way for now. I'm making my way through downtown Kenosha to check on different locations of fires and damage. I'm currently on my way back towards that car lot to assess where that is at. I know the fire department is on scene trying to extinguish it. It appears now the firefighters are actively engaging with the fire, trying to extinguish it. It is a catastrophic moment for this car lot, and it certainly is quite a climatic end to the night.
Right. It is something that it seemed, though, and again, you're on the ground there, it seemed as soon as that happened, the kind of intensity level kind of picked up, and people just dispersed after that. I think people realized the sense of tremendous danger of setting over nearly a dozen cars on fire, what that could potentially mean, and it seemed like that's when things started to disperse.
I am now seeing the fire department is trying to regain control of this fire here at the car lot, and we are seeing them try to avoid this fire going any further to the east towards the church. It is apparent now that it is a catastrophic moment for this business. It is all engulfed in flames. I am looking at charred cars, or what's left of them, wheels burned completely, the frame of the car on the ground on fire.
Wow. And John, we're hearing some people in the background. Are those firefighters, or is that more protesters and the groups of people who are still there nearby on the scene?
This is the sound of protesters that are still here near the scene of the fire, which broke out earlier this evening, or I guess this morning. I think a lot of people are maybe thinking about what has happened this evening, the statement they've made, and maybe I would hope some of the questions they could ask our city council and our leaders to uphold within this community.
Right, and Representative John Lewis, who passed away earlier this year, said that we need an inside game and an outside game, so that there's a need for protesting, and that there's a need for pushing people, but that you also need legislative power. And so you're right, that's a fair, astute point. How are these protesters who have wreaked havoc, showing their pain this evening and this morning, going to push city council and city leaders to respond to this crisis? Because this is truly a crisis.
Certainly, that is the question of many of the protesters here tonight, is what are you going to do to respond to our plight? What are you going to do? And it's evident now through their actions and through the protests that they will not stand down.
Right. I also want to get your point here, even though you did say you saw a baby boomer potentially or Gen Xer couple, the kind of the strength of the millennial and Gen Z generations. There have been some on the field reporters who have said that they do not have any chill, per se. They don't have any quit in them. Are you seeing something different in their eyes, saying, I don't care what happens at all?
I think they're willing to risk it all, and I think in some of the eyes of these protesters, they see tonight's actions and how they unfolded as some sort of poetic justice for their cause. I saw such anger and tenacity with these protesters. Even though I may not completely agree with the actions they took, I saw their passion.
Right, and that passion, again, what happens? Let's also take into account that protests in Portland, in Chicago, in other areas were long-lasting and lasted and are still continuing across the country. Alrighty, yeah, so we're back here with John Bush, our on-the-field correspondent here, as we hopefully wind down a long and arduous.
Yeah, I think that this has been a buildup of many decades of inequity within our society, and I think we're seeing it come to the forefront, certainly within this community tonight, and the actions they took and the voices that they shouted out loud and proud, their feelings about what has happened within this community.
I want to thank you for this amazing evening of coverage. Folks, we thought we were over for the night, but something just happened. John, what are you seeing on the ground?
So, John, Troy, we just had a massive explosion. I would say that the flames were at least 30 feet in the air. We now have sight that the tree is on fire that is right next to the church. It is obvious that the firemen are trying the best they can to mitigate the flames, but at the moment, it is looking very difficult to control this. There were people near the explosion. I couldn't give you details of how close, but I am hoping at the moment that nobody was injured.
Oh, my goodness. And do you know what could have exploded? Do you think it was another vehicle or a group of vehicles in that car lot?
I am wondering if there was a fuel tank located on the car lot for the cars, and I'm wondering if that is what exploded.
Right. So to back that up for people who might not be familiar.
Oh, we have another implosion.
Okay, so it could have been a tank for when you buy a new car, they just fill it up for you when you drive it off the lot. This is a reserve gas tank that could be the culprit here. Of course, we're far away from the scene. We do not know, but flames 30 feet high, such a loud explosion, as we just heard a second one there as we have come back onto this program.
At the moment, Troy, my visibility is very low. We have a lot of smoke as the firefighters, the Kenosha Fire Department, is trying to take control of the flames that have engulfed this car lot. It is hard to ascertain at the moment where we are at with its proximity to the church. I do believe that the fire department is trying their hardest, and they have already sprayed the church down a couple of times, but I did feel the necessity to update you at the moment.
Right. John Bush with an additional update here, as we thought we were done for the evening, and right as we closed our program, another explosion went off 30 feet in the air at the car lot. They have taken some preventative measures. The police and fire spraying down the Bradford Unitarian Universalist Church to prevent a fire from spreading, but another explosion has taken place, as John Bush has reported, setting another nearby tree on fire, and so they're doing all they can to prevent this fire from spreading. John Bush, thank you again for this update. We sincerely appreciate it. Thank you. You have been a well-informed voice, John, dealing with the people on the ground all night long. John Bush, our correspondent this evening, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Troy.
And folks, thank you so much for tuning into this Generation Now special. This audio, again, was from the early hours of Monday, August 24th, from about 1 to 3 a.m. The events here, just historic in the city of Kenosha. For Generation Now, I'm Troy McDonald.